Hello, and welcome back to Mr. Easy Peasy English. Today, we are traveling back to the 20th century to meet a man who became one of the most important leaders for workers' rights in America, Cesar Chavez. But this is not just about history or politics. This is the story of a boy born into poverty, a young man who worked under the hot sun in fields, and a leader who gave his life to fight for fairness and dignity. So sit back, relax, and let's walk through his life together. The year was 1927. In a small house near Yuma, Arizona, a baby boy was born. His parents, Librado and Juana, were Mexican-American. They named their son Cesar. Cesar grew up in a big family with 5 brothers and sisters. Life was not easy. His parents owned a small farm and grocery store, but during the Great Depression, they lost their land. Suddenly, the Chavez family had nothing. With no home or farm, they became migrant workers. This meant they traveled from place to place, looking for work in the fields. They picked vegetables and fruit under the burning sun. Cesar was only 10 years old when he left school to work full-time. He bent his back for hours in the fields, his hands blistered from cutting lettuce and cotton. The days were long, the pay was low, and the living conditions were harsh. Families often slept in small shacks or even in cars. Cesar saw his parents and other workers treated unfairly, with little respect. Still, Cesar's mother taught him kindness. She said, "You must not fight with your fists, you must fight with your heart." Those words stayed with him his whole life. As a young man, Cesar joined the U.S. Navy during World War II. He hoped to serve his country proudly. But after 2 years, he returned home, back to the fields. Again, he picked crops, moved with the seasons, and lived in poor housing. Cesar knew this life too well. He also knew something had to change. In the 1950s, Cesar began organizing with community groups. He saw how workers were trapped in poverty. They worked long hours, had no bathrooms or clean water in the fields, and were often sprayed with dangerous pesticides. But when workers complained, they were ignored, or even fired. Cesar believed that if workers stood together, their voices could be stronger. In 1962, Cesar Chavez and a small group of farm workers founded the National Farm Workers Association. Later, it became known as the United Farm Workers, or UFW. At first, there were only a few members, but Cesar traveled from town to town, speaking to workers in kitchens, in church halls, and in the fields. He listened to their stories. He gave them hope. Slowly, the movement began to grow. In 1965, grape workers in Delano, California went on strike. They wanted better pay and safer conditions. Cesar and the UFW supported them. This strike would last for 5 long years. Cesar believed in nonviolence, inspired by leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "We are not against the growers, we are against injustice." The strike was tough. Many workers suffered. But Cesar and his supporters organized boycotts. They asked Americans not to buy grapes until the workers were treated fairly. Millions of people listened. Grocery stores refused to sell grapes. Students, churches, and families joined in. Cesar also led marches. One famous march was 340 miles long, from Delano to Sacramento, the capital of California. Thousands of people joined him, carrying signs and singing songs. Their message was clear. Farm workers deserved dignity. Cesar even went on hunger strikes. For weeks, he refused to eat, drinking only water. He wanted to show his commitment to nonviolence and to remind workers to stay peaceful, even when they were angry. These fasts weakened his body, but strengthened the movement. Finally, in 1970, after years of struggle, the grape growers signed agreements with the UFW. Farm workers won better pay, rest breaks, clean drinking water, and the right to unionize. It was a historic victory. For the first time, the voices of farm workers had been heard. But the fight did not end there. Cesar continued to work for justice throughout his life. He spoke out against dangerous pesticides that harmed both workers and their families. He pushed for laws to protect workers' rights, and he inspired people across the country to stand up for fairness, not just in the fields, but in all parts of life. Cesar Chavez was not a rich man. He never cared about money or fame. He lived simply, often wearing the same clothes, eating simple meals, and driving old cars. What he cared about was respect. He once said, "It is not about grapes or lettuce. It is about people." In April 1993, Cesar Chavez passed away in his sleep. He was 66 years old. More than 40,000 people came to his funeral, walking behind his simple wooden coffin. They carried roses and sang the songs of the movement. Today, Cesar is remembered as a hero of nonviolent struggle, a man who gave his life so that farm workers could live with dignity. Schools, streets, and parks are named after him. Every year, many states celebrate Cesar Chavez Day to honor his legacy. The story of Cesar Chavez reminds us that even the most ordinary person, someone born into poverty, someone who worked in the fields, can change the world. His life shows us that courage, patience, and unity can bring justice. And that is the story of Cesar Chavez, a boy from Arizona who became a farm worker, a union leader, and a voice for the voiceless. His life is a reminder that real power comes not from violence or wealth, but from service, sacrifice, and the belief that all people deserve respect. Now, let us see what you learned. I will ask you 5 questions about the story. See how many you can answer correctly. Pause the video if you need more time. Where was Cesar Chavez born? Near Yuma, Arizona. What kind of work did Cesar's family do after they lost their farm? They became migrant farm workers, picking crops in the fields. What was the name of the union Cesar Chavez helped to start? The United Farm Workers, UFW. What did Cesar and the workers ask people to stop buying during the grape strike? Grapes. How did Cesar show his commitment to nonviolence during the struggle? He went on hunger strikes. Thank you for joining me in this journey. I hope you enjoyed learning English through this story. If you liked this lesson, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss the next story. See you next time here on Mr. Easy Peasy English.